Well, Dr. Bill, how come when they talk about toasted food, it's always named after the item being toasted, like, you know, toasted corn muffins, toasted blueberry muffins, or toasted English muffins. But how come toasted bread is just called toast? You ever notice that?
If it's white bread, after you eat it, you are toast.
No, what I'm saying is that when they refer to, you know, a piece of toast, would you like a piece of toast with your bacon and eggs? They don't say toasted bread, they just say toast. But everything else is toasted, and then the name of whatever it happens to be. I just thought, it's just a peculiar observation that I noticed.
Never try to understand the English language.
You know, like an eggplant does not resemble an egg, or a chocolate or vanilla egg cream contains no eggs.
It's a,
you know, things of that nature.
Never try to understand the English language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially slang or traditional comments.
Correct.
Now, I was also thinking that if a 747 can carry the U.S. Space Shuttle Columbia, then I don't want to hear any reasons from the airlines about justifying why they have to charge people extra money for luggage, for additional luggage. If it can carry the Space Shuttle Columbia, then these fees for extra luggage is total nonsense. All right.
Well, it's total nonsense for the airlines to not have prices that would allow them to have their profit margins that they wish, because they have all of these different routes and planes taking off and going here, there, and everywhere, and they're not full. They're not full.
They're corporate lies.
Okay.
It's all made up because of greed. They're unjustifiable corporate lies, just like the rest of corporate America. Oh, by the way, I had the misfortune of watching Paula Deen, and I noticed her sons do the same thing she does.
Bobby and Jamie, yeah.
They mix the food with their hands and taste it with their
lick
fingers.
their fingers.
And they stick, no spoons, everything's with their hands. The sons, and just like the mother, that's why I would never eat anything that woman cooks. Very unsanitary. Of course, Green Bay Packers got screwed by the make-believe officials.
Now, not that I'm interested in this subject.
Yeah.
At all.
What?
Who was in black? The Packers?
No, the Seattle Seahawks were in like a dark blue, and Green Bay Packers
Yellow.
was in yellow, gold, and green.
Okay.
And he caught the ball.
So now, what is the problem with this situation?
He was in the end zone.
The yellow guy.
Right.
We'll refer to him as the yellow guy.
Okay. The Seahawks quarterback threw the pass, and everybody was in the end zone. And what happened was the opposite team, the Green Bay Packers man, jumped up high and intercepted the football. He had both hands on the football. He came down into the end zone with the football, and then the other team was trying to take it out of his hands, but he had possession. The opposite player had possession of that football in the air and came down into the end zone with it. So that was technically an interception.
However,
but the officials were only had college and high school refereeing experience. They weren't NFL.
There were 4 pictures in Time magazine.
Yeah.
That I just looked at today. And from the pictures, the man in yellow grabbed the ball.
Yeah, that was an interception. That's Green Bay. Yeah, it was a bona fide interception, and the officials were too stupid to see that.
Okay, so the blue guy should have been in that touchdown area.
Well, they were all there, but I'm just saying, it was they had the blue team, like you say, the Seahawks had possession of the football, and he could, instead of a Seahawk catching the ball.
The other guy did.
The opposite team, Green Bay Packers, leaped in the air,
Right.
grabbed the ball, came down with it. So that's an interception. So it was a stupid call on the part of the fake officials. But anyway, oh, you know what I heard? The state of New Jersey pays a lousy, stinking. This individual is supposed to receive a lousy, stinking $140 per month for welfare, without without the option of appealing the decision. Now, what the hell are you going to do with $140 a month? How are you going to live on that in this day and age, in modern 21st century America? How the hell can anybody live on a stinking $140 a month that they make such a big deal out of? I mean, that's like your uncle giving you $2 right now and say, "Hey, kid,
Go buy a pack of cigarettes."
yeah, go buy yourself. Don't spend it all in one place." What the hell, man?
You know, the point is that the government is not thinking in those terms at all.
Uh-huh.
Period. Don't forget, welfare as we know it was changed under the best Republican president ever, Mr. Bill Clinton.
Wasn't that a compromise he made with Newt Gingrich
with
back
the
then?
Gingrich? Yes, yes.
Bipartisanship again rears its ugly head.
Yes, yes. I haven't heard anybody say anything about the fact that these welfare people today, they have to go to work. Well, what are they doing? Taking jobs away from people that actually want to work? What the hell's going on here?
I don't
And
know.
if there aren't any jobs, what the hell jobs are they working at?
Exactly. It's ridiculous. It's an insult to the intelligence of the poor and unfortunate and unemployed. It's
Well,
really a
here's
slap in the
ano-
face.
Here's another insult. The big banks have been receiving moolah from the Federal Reserve for like under 1% for a long time now.
Uh-huh.
Then they take this money and they invest it in bonds getting 2 and 3% interest.
Really?
So in other words, it's using our money against us. But they'd rather give that money to Wall Street than to Main Street. There's the cartoon right over there. Look at it. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? The guy from Wall Street smoking a big cigar with a martini in hand, he's saying, yeah.
The guys from Wall
The guy
Street.
from Main Street saying no.
The guys from Wall Street who are the real criminals that never got arrested,
Yeah.
as opposed to the unarmed, peaceful protesters of the Occupy movement that do get arrested and pepper maced and kicked in the face. Let me ask you a question. You're a theologian.
Ooh.
You know the Bible because you're the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, which I will officially pipe aboard our progressive pirate ship. Ahoy! Welcome aboard, my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. I am, of course, your host. Welcome to Progressive Discussions. I am your host, James P. Madonna. How are you feeling today, sir?
With my hands.
With your hands, okay.
Ah!
Just as I thought. Now, let me ask you a
Comedian.
question. One of the 10 Commandments
One of them.
that is called, thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Does that mean liars? Is that
Correct.
a lie? So if somebody looks in your eye and pretends to be your friend and makes a statement and makes a commitment with you and promises you that they're going to do something and totally stiffs you in the end and doesn't even show up or do what they say that they're going to do and blatantly misrepresents themselves or lies to you, would that be considered bearing false witness against thy
Correct,
neighbor?
and that would be an indication that their character is faulty.
Well, I know some people personally that are like that, unfortunately, and I'm sure the country, and the world is loaded with them.
They're called politicians.
So, a person this one person is very successful, and but I know others that are like that, where they'll tell you something they'll say, yeah, I'll call you on a certain time. We'll get together. Let's do this. Let's do that. I'll call you. And then it's total bullshit. It's a lie. So that would be bearing false witness against thy neighbor, and somebody who blatantly lies to you, or a person who, let's say, takes marriage vows and doesn't even adhere to any of them, or just people who promise and just don't deliver. All right, so I have that established. It is one of the original sins and one of the 10 Commandments. Lying to your fellow man and being a phony or perhaps a backstabber, deceitful. It all falls into that category, right? Yeah. Okay, now, what do we have here? It's Saturday, the September 20... What is it?
29.
September 29, 2012.
I thought there was a 31 this month. No.
Well, October 1st happens to be this Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just found out recently that this new craze in America, this sudden surge in popularity, this little fat, yeah, she's little and fat too, fat, obnoxious, loudmouth, overbearing, a spoiled little monster, this redneck, hick, stupid, obese family, and this fat little obnoxious loudmouth little girl, this honey boo boo, which I am so sick and tired of hearing about. The most, I heard she gets $10,000 per episode for sounding like a moron and being loud and obnoxious.
What show is she on?
Demanding and taking tantrums with her fat, obese, stupid redneck family. She's on, it's a spin-off from Toddlers and Tiaras or something. You know, the thing with that we were talking about before with your friends?
Yeah.
Little girls with heavy makeup on in adult dresses being forced to enter
participate in the pageants,
beauty pageants, and they're being yelled at by their mothers to succeed and to be great talents, and meanwhile their childhood is taken away from them. And then your friend's girlfriend mentioned that they're giving Red Bull or caffeinated sodas
and Mountain Dew with the caffeine,
Mountain Dew and sugar,
keep them active,
to make them hyperactive and perform better. Meanwhile, the mothers are being totally selfish about the whole thing, living vicariously through their little girls and taking away their childhood. And the poor little girls are in tears. This is child abuse, but nothing is done about it. But anyway, everything's about this Honey Boo Boo. It is the stupidest show that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's stupider than even the Kardashians, which are just stupid sluts.
Ooh. Stupid,
very rich sluts. That like to date African-American, tall African-American athletes, famous athletes, basketball players.
Hey.
But who have the misfortune of perhaps marrying into that family with a bossy, overbearing, dominating mother. But anyway, this Honey Boo Boo is sickening. They are so stupid. It is a stupid, obese family. There's nothing intelligent or talented coming out of their mouths, nothing witty at all. It's not funny, and the kid is just a little overbearing, big mouth, fat brat. That's all she is. She's a fat little spoiled brat that hams it up for the camera. No pun intended. Hams it up for the camera.
Making $10,000
now making $10,000 an episode, and in my opinion, reality shows and Honey Boo Boo is just like Tea Party voters. It represents the dumbing down of America, a spirit of American stupidity, and it just shows you the basic, across the board, average mentality of Americans, and it displays a dumbing down of this country. When you throw in the Tea Party followers and voters, the people who believe the Republican lies and vote against their best interest. Like I heard, many senior citizens tend to vote Republican. I don't know why, because they live on a fixed income. Why would a senior vote right wing is beyond me. Why would any middle class or lower middle class person vote right wing? Because you know what it is? Like you told me many times, it's based on their false Christianity, religious cult, the religious ideology that makes them vote the way they do against their own best interest.
Yeah, it allows them to
economically.
It allows them to feel better than the Democrats, who are baby killers and gay lovers and secular humanists.
Well, you heard what
I could never vote for a Democrat.
Well, you heard what Michael J. Tomo said. He says they changed the name from liberal to progressive because it's like apologizing to the Republicans because the word liberal was demonized so much.
Correct.
They had to choose a different name, which is very similar to this ass-kissing, compromising bipartisanship that Obama and other Democrats are still talking about, which will never happen. But this is the stupidity of Americans that don't do their homework, they don't research, they don't know their facts, and they vote based on an ideology, a religious cult that's not in the Bible. And the dumbing down of America, of course, includes people making a big fuss over this Honey Boo Boo, which it sickens me just to look at that family, let alone listen to them. Mm-hmm. This is the mentality of America. This is where we're at in the end times. Take it away with your readings.
Federal and state prosecutors have collected more than $30 billion from drug companies for alleged fraud and illegal marketing over the past 20 years. This year alone, GlaxoSmithKline, Johnson & Johnson, and other drug makers have paid $6.6 billion to settle claims of defrauding United States health programs, more than double the amount of 2011. The report shows that state attorneys are increasingly following the lead of federal prosecutors in seeking multi-million-dollar settlements with drug makers such as GlaxoSmithKline, Eli Lilly. Analysis by Public Citizen found that state governments have collected $3.7 billion from drug makers since 2009. Overcharging state health plans like Medicaid was the most common allegation, while unapproved drug marketing was the most costly. Drug companies are permitted to market drugs only for uses that have been approved by the Food and Drug Administration. In recent years, the Department of Justice and state attorneys general have increasingly pursued cases of off-label marketing or promoting drugs for unapproved uses. Governments are spending more on prescription drugs as programs like Medicare and Medicaid swell with the aging baby boomers. That increased spending has attracted scrutiny from investigators looking to recover taxpayer dollars. It should come as no surprise that states facing Medicaid budget shortfalls are finally deciding to root out fraud that has likely cost their taxpayers billions of dollars over the years. State and federal attorneys have collected $6.6 billion through mid-July this year, setting a new record. 3 drug companies have paid 2/3 of the financial penalties since November 2010. GlaxoSmithKline, Johnson & Johnson, and Abbott Laboratories.
Hey, Abbott.
In July, British drug maker GlaxoSmithKline agreed to pay $3 billion in fines the largest healthcare fraud settlement in United States history, for criminal and civil violations involving 10 drugs, including the diabetes pill Avandia. Eli Lilly and Pfizer have also paid penalties of more than $1 billion in recent years to settle allegations of improper marketing.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if there was a lot of this going on in the Bush years. Going after them, I mean. I doubt it very much.
Yeah, any ill-gotten gains or underhanded tactics done by corporations are often go unnoticed under a Republican administration.
Now here's an interesting thought. Yes, this is a lot of money, a lot of fines, but you know what? When you fine a rich person
Doesn't hurt 'em.
or a rich corporation, you're not hurting them at all.
No, not at all. It's a slap on the wrist.
That's correct. So fines should not be the punishment.
No, regulations are the only fair. Regulations and closing a company down
Ah,
and incarcerating the
now we're talking.
people running the corporation.
Now we're talking.
You have a small one before your
A
break.
small one.
'Cause we're running way behind.
Yes, we are. Ooh. This is small. Like many schools in Texas, spare the rod and spoil the child might be considered the motto at Springtown High School. But when two teenage girls there reportedly suffered bruises after being paddled by male assistant principals, some parents complained.
I think this is going beyond discipline.
They weren't upset about the punishment itself, but instead that the school violated the policy requiring an educator of the same sex as the student to dole out the paddling.
Wait, who's paddling? Female?
Male.
Men
Female.
are paddling teenage girls
Yeah.
on the bare ass?
Ooh.
On
Yeah.
the bare ass?
Yeah. Well, I imagine something of that nature.
No, this is not disciplinary.
Got to pull the panties down here.
They're using this as an excuse to get their jollies.
So the school district has changed its policy to expand, not abolish corporal punishment. Board members voted Monday night to let administrators paddle students of the opposite sex.
Don't they see that this is not this is not just for disciplinary reasons?
After Superintendent Michael Kelly cited a lack of women administrators to carry out the spankings.
Oh
There
sure.
ain't enough women to carry out the spankings.
Oh sure.
I wonder if they asked for volunteers.
I
The
don't,
new policy says
they don't. I would be furious if it was my daughter. I'd beat the shit out of them.
The new policy says a same-sex school official must witness the paddling, which is just one swat, and that parents also can request one spanking per semester.
One swat? Oh, that's all they get?
They can get one spanking per semester too.
So you mean a spanking it consists of one swat?
That's what they said here. I don't believe that crap. In all cases, a parent must have written permission and request it in lieu of another punishment such as suspension or detention.
Or Chinese water torture?
Dick Cheney would like that. I personally think Texas is getting a black eye because of this.
No, they got a lot of ribeyes in Texas. I know that. I don't
People
know
are
about black eye.
assuming that a school district can do whatever it wants because of this. That's not the case. Texas law allows schools to use corporal punishment unless a parent or guardian prohibits it in writing. the issue of the student or educator's gender is not addressed. And there are no state standards on the minimum or maximum ages of students who can be spanked. Kathy Watt, whose daughter was one of the two girls recently paddled, said Tuesday that she's okay with paddlings in schools because they need it once in a while. And I got them when I was a kid. But she said the male administrator used too much force, so she does not support the new policy. She said her 16-year-old daughter, Jada, deserved to be spanked.
Why don't they just send the girls home and tell their parents and let the parents discipline the children? Isn't that the responsibility of the parents?
Anyway, she deserved to be spanked after she spoke sarcastically to a teacher and an assistant principal. But she did not deserve to be bruised.
Well, that
so
was,
in other words, if there's bruising,
it's not just one swat.
it's not just one swat.
No, somebody's getting into this.
Yeah. And what kind of message does it send these boys? Watt said, is it telling them that it's okay to hit a girl? Texas is one of the 19 states that allow schools to spank students.
Are boys paddled by female? I bet the boys would actually enjoy it, depending on what the female teacher looks like, right?
And whether she's in panties and bra.
You're right. You've been a bad boy.
But 97 of the nation's 100 largest school districts have banned corporal punishment. About 75% of the state's school districts use corporal punishment, including Springtown, a town of about 2,700, located 30 miles northwest of Fort Worth. It's never okay to hit a child.
I wouldn't say that.
Men should not be paddling teenage girls.
True.
Because
Sexual.
there is a sexual connotation with teen girls.
Yeah, they're a little too old to be spanked bare-ass by a man.
But also with teen boys.
You know, you can't corrupt the teen boy.
Yeah, but it depends on which way the educator swings.
I mean, you can't. Yeah, you can't traumatize. I'm sorry, a teen boy with his testosterone, raging hormones flying around. So anyway, that's all right. We're gonna take a break, right?
Yeah.
And because it's time for the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman's gastronomic delight, known as lunch, followed by mega vitamin C and supplementation, something like that.
Yeah.
All right. You've been a bad boy. You've been a bad. Oh, let me do the female teacher.
Bad girl.
You've been a bad boy. And that southern drawl.
I shall now ruck down those panties. Are you ready, young lady?
This little girl, a young lady, you have been very naughty, talking back to me in a sarcastic manner. I'm afraid I have to do this, but I will enjoy every second of it, because I am a red state Texas teacher, and we all fucked up here in Texas, because we's a red state.
Except for Austin.
Yeah, did they ban sex toys in Texas, or that's just Alabama?
I have no idea.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe it's Texas also. Black Gold, Texas tea.
Boy, it sure smells good what you're eating there, Dr. Bill. So,
Chili
what is it?
and potato salad.
What the fuck?
That
That is whack. That's too wacko to me, man. That's a little wacky. Chili and potato salad.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? Hey, what is the correct pronunciation? Is it Parmesan cheese or Parmesan?
Parmesan.
It's like somebody saying clitoris.
I ain't even Italian.
It's like saying clitoris or clitoris.
Mm-hmm.
Tomato, right?
You say tomato, I say tomato.
Caribbean.
How about potato? Potato.
I hate people that pronounce it that way. That's a stupid way to pronounce potatoes. I hate people that say that word. Caribbean, clitoris or clitoris. You know what, Dr. Bill? I happen to, well, we're animal lovers here at Newsletter Censored. And also animal rights activists, which is part of being a progressive liberal. Also being a consumer advocate is another important part of being a progressive liberal. It's having compassion for life, for the planet, for the environment. Being an environmental activist is also part of it. But anyway,
conservatives have passion for billionaires.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay,
making money. That's all they care about, conservatives. My favorite dog, just like my favorite cat, is Siamese, because they have the friendliest personality, most similar to a dog, and they have a distinct meow all to themselves. You said it's like a baby crying, right? Now, my favorite dog is English bulldogs. Now, unfortunately, when the cruel sport called bull baiting, which the dogs were originally bred for, back in the 18th, 17th century England and before, when that became illegal, the breeders of the English bulldogs started breeding them for the exaggerated features rather than for the dog's athleticism. So what happened was the dog had lost its athleticism, and then the breed started encountering breathing problems
because of the short snout.
Yeah, and also, but before, when the dog was an athlete, bred to attack bulls, they did not have a breathing problem. And also, English bulldogs of today have to be born by cesarean.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the word whelp, does that have to do with reproduction?
Yeah. When you whelp a pup.
Yeah, they said something about whelping.
Whelping.
But anyway, it was all around, it was a healthier, much more athletic breed. We're talking about the original breed, which was called Old English Bulldoggy, you know, with the E at the end. Old would be O-L-D-E, Old English Bulldoggy. Anyway, they tried, for the past 12 years, this one company, this one breeder called Mighty Mac Bulldogs, made an attempt to reconstruct the original English Bulldog of yesteryear. And they succeeded.
Mm.
But I don't know if it's exactly the same as the original. So my suggestion to them was, instead of trying to reconstruct the breed, why don't you just go to England and find some of the graves of champion English bulldogs from back then and procure the DNA to see if you can procure the DNA of those original English bulldogs, maybe through bone marrow or something, and clone the original English bulldogs and then breed the clone dogs. I never got an answer back. which to me, I mean, the breeders are from, I think, down south or out west. So there's a good chance they're right-wing fundamentalists. And when I mentioned to them cloning as an easy, quick way to reconstruct the breed, they probably got all offended by that. And that's why I did not get an answer. But that would have been the easiest, most effective way to bring the breed back. Also, I got to salute the German scientists, and they deserve to be saluted, because my lucky magical shillelagh. German scientists have developed a solar tower, which is part of a solar power plant designed to be placed in the desert, and it converts the heat from the desert ground into electricity. And I saw the completed working tower, what it looks like, and they're being used, but they're not being used in the United States. Now, with all the probably thousands of miles of wasteland in, let's say, the Mojave Desert, I don't know how many square miles makes up the Mojave Desert, but I'm sure it is very vast because it goes from Southern California into Nevada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just think of all of the electricity that can be harnessed in the American Southwest using these German solar tower power plants. I mean, and then Gary No mentioned there's a certain area in Colorado where wind generators could be effectively used because there's a constant jet stream of some kind that he mentioned.
Yeah, but you are looking at this thing from a idealistic and maybe a right position. But these things are not looked at from that point of view. Certainly not by the coal companies, certainly not by the oil companies.
Yeah, I'm looking at it from a logical,
Right.
Idealistic, doing the right thing standpoint.
Right.
You
They are looking at
finished?
it. Yeah. They are looking at it from the point of you are trying to muscle in on our territory.
Who cares about their profit? I believe in doing the right thing for the people.
Well, you see, but we know our business ethic is not that.
Well, that's not God's economics, is it?
I would say.
Because that would be the right thing to do. I mean, even I was talking to our friends in Botswana, Africa, who are big fans of us, and they live near the Kalahari Desert, and they said that the German solar tower would be perfect in the Kalahari for producing electricity for South Africa.
Unfortunately, over in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
we have Monsanto and the big boys over there buying up all the land
And they're getting away with it.
and getting away with it.
Really?
Yeah.
So Monsanto wants to take over Zavoiled. They want to conquer Zavoiled.
You know, it's a strange thing. We seem to, we didn't like it too well when Mr. Hitler, wanted to take over the world. But we certainly have no problems with multinationals being able to do it.
Because multinationals pay off politicians.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, and finance their campaigns.
So we allow prostitution in our politics, but not in our
A woman
day-to-day life.
Oh, a woman cannot be a prostitute, but it's okay for a political leader to be a prostitute. For money, it's okay to be a prostitute. For profit, greed, it's okay. But for a woman to do what she wants with her body, it's no good.
Mm-mm. No.
Or for a gay person to be openly gay, out of the closet and wanna I guess get married to their partner, that's no good. Or having people not want religion shoved down their kids' throat in school, all right? I mean, that's not good. So it's like a double standard here.
Someone put up something on Facebook the other day concerning God being thrown out of the schools, etc.
It's none of his damn business.
Well, I just merely said that, it wasn't God, capital G-O-D, that was thrown out of schools. It was God, small letter G-O-D, that was thrown out of the schools.
Clarify that, please.
False God was thrown out of the schools.
Well,
Because the real God never was in there.
well, if a Republican wants God to wants their version of Christianity to be shoved down children's throats,
And they do.
but they are so hypocritical that they turn around and they'll take money and food out of the mouths of poor people and they don't help the poor, and they're greedy and all they care about is profit, and they support things like child labor or slave labor, or you know what I mean. That doesn't sound like a Christian to me. So they are blatant hypocrites.
Yes, and their ideas about the Ten Commandments and God in school are all hypocritical and false.
Absolutely. Now,
so why should we care that the G-O-D was thrown out of the school?
Exactly.
The capital G-O-D was never there.
It was never there to begin with.
Yeah.
Now, the greedy corporate 1%, along with Republican politicians, of course, every week they have a message for America's poor and homeless. And it sounds like this. We are here to kill you. 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 Gee, that sounds like we are here to kill you, doesn't it?
That was what it said. That's what it said. But probably
The Xylons from Battlestar Galactica. Yeah.
Probably they want to kill us after we work for them in some way, shape, or form, or perform some sort of,
And then when
duty for
we're
them.
ready for the glue factory,
Yeah.
then they will kill us Soylent Green style.
Yeah. Well, maybe by that time, they'll have us for food.
Maybe they'll make sausage out of the homeless to feed the homeless,
No, to feed the rich.
or to feed Chris Christie.
Oh God.
Here to kill you. We are here to kill you. Just showing off my talent. All right, now I'm going to do a real quick promo. See this gentleman next to me here? This is a self-portrait, a watercolor self-portrait of my mentor and co-host, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. Check out the William J. Eisenman collection. Go to Google and type in the William J. Eisenman collection, and you'll see almost the whole gallery on slideshow. And we also have the entire album of watercolor paintings on our Newsletter Censored Facebook page. And if you see something you like, email Dr. Bill at newslettercensored.com, and you can purchase, with your gift, sizable gift, an original signed William J. Eisenman painting, watercolor, with a few gouaches, which he gave up on gouache. This is the very best way to join and be a part of our organization. This is the way you join us. Go to newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to the newsletter that started it all in 1977, founded by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. Newsletter Censored. There is nothing out there like Newsletter Censored. Nothing. Okay, it is the type of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? So go there now and get Newsletter Censored. Get your free annual subscription with your gift to support this work. This is the way you join our organization. You need Newsletter Censored. We are living in the end times. You need Newsletter Censored to learn how to defeat a conservative. You need Newsletter Censored. And also the God Project is in here, and Dr. Bill will teach you what the Bible really has to say, not what phony counterfeit Christian right-wing fundamentalists tell you what the Bible says. What the Bible really has to say. And of course, if you go to newslettercensored.com, you will see Dr. Bill for president for the third time as a progressive independent, and he will teach you how to write in a candidate, and that the best way to take corruption out of politics is to take the money out of politics, and it's all there. And how to defeat a conservative is there. All right, now let's get back to the readings.
Speaking of prostitution, A prostitution case that evolved into a sensational tale of a suburban mother moonlighting as a high-end Manhattan madam ended on Tuesday with a guilty plea, sparing her further jail time.
Big deal. It's such a ridiculous, victimless crime.
But not without some parting shots by prosecutors and the judge, suggesting the hype was of her own making. Assistant District Attorney Charles Linehan accused Anna Christina of making empty boasts, picked up by surveillance before her arrest, that she had connections in the FBI, New York Police Department, and other law enforcement agencies that would tip her off when needed. We have no evidence to support any of these claims, Linehan said. In court, Christina ran a brothel for many years. That's all.
Big deal.
Judge Juan Merchan also scolded Christina for drawing needless attention to herself, including bringing her young son Nicholas to court on Tuesday amid a throng of news cameras. I can't see the benefit of exposing him to this, he said. Christina and her lawyer left court without speaking to reporters. The 45-year-old native of Scotland pleaded guilty to a single count of promoting prostitution, stemming from a July 2011 tryst that authorities say she arranged involving 2 women and an undercover officer posing as a client named Anthony. The prostitution charge carried a possible sentence of 2.5 to 7 years in prison.
That much?
But the judge said he would give her only 6 months, already covered by the time she served before her release on bail in June.
The world's oldest profession has a necessary function. It is a victimless crime. It's a woman's right to do with her body what she wishes. It's ridiculous.
Let me put this in a more
ridiculous.
Let me put this in a more
enlightened
context. Enlightened context.
Okay.
Way back in the 80s.
Okay.
I had a relationship.
Okay.
Which broke up.
It happens. And
after breaking up, at that time the surrogates of all natures were one of the big stories. And I happened to run across this young lady. She was young at that time. Not too young, but, maybe in the 30s, late 30s, something like that.
Not young at all.
She considered herself a sexual surrogate.
A legalized prostitute?
Just a moment.
Glorified?
Just a moment. However, she only did this work for disabled people. And at that time I was going to write a book about her.
Yeah.
So I interviewed her a few times. Eventually the book went nowhere, but, it was interesting to see her point of view and etc. Now, I wonder, I probably know the answer to this, but I wonder, with that kind of portrayal, what judges and district attorneys and stuff would do if someone like that were brought to court for prostitution.
Interesting. I bet Larry Flint would have loved that article, that interview.
I'm sure he would have. And he probably could have done much more with it than I would have been able to.
Yeah. I wonder how the courts would treat that. Interesting. A form of therapist, a form of sex therapy.
Well, she felt that the handicapped, the disabled, of course, did not have the opportunities to avail themselves of sexuality, some of them, and she felt that that was her calling to help out in that kind of situation.
And she did.
And she did.
And then there's sex surrogates for people that are having couples that are having sexual dysfunction in their relationship, and they would hire the sex surrogate for that. What about a sex surrogate to break in a young lad when he,
Well, I'm sure the uses, vary if they were legal.
if the father, yeah, well, interesting.
The judge warned that a bigger problem for Christina, a legal resident from the Scottish Highlands, is that she could be deported as a result of the conviction.
Oh, yeah.
Christina's lawyers had painted a picture of benign domesticity. They said their client lived on a 12-acre property in Monroe, where she rescued animals and helped abandoned pet pigs find new homes. She also had said she was merely starting a dating service.
Well, she was definitely, she had compassion for animals. I mean, that's a nice trait.
Humans are animals, are they not?
Yeah, I'm just saying, she wasn't like a selfish person who did not care about anything else but herself. She obviously spent her time trying to rescue animals, and which I think is admirable. What do we got here? Anything about Romney or Balloon Boy Chris Christie today?
We'll probably get there.
All right.
But these are interesting things.
Okay. Okay.
The NASA rover Curiosity has beamed back pictures of bedrock that suggest a fast-moving stream.
Bedrock on Mars? You mean actual bedrock?
Possibly waist deep, once flowed on Mars.
Wow.
A find that the mission's chief scientist called exciting. There have been previous signs that water existed on the red planet long ago. But the images released on Thursday show pebbles rounded off, likely by water.
Yes.
Offered the most convincing evidence so far of an ancient stream bed.
Yeah, river stones. You can buy them now at dollar stores. They're polished and smoothed by water, running water.
There was a vigorous flow on the surface of Mars. We're really excited about this. The discovery did not come as a complete surprise. NASA decided to plunk Curiosity down inside Gale Crater near the Martian equator because photos from space hinted that the spot possessed a watery past.
Let me guess, the Martian equator was not exactly tropical in temperature.
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
The six-wheeled rover safely landed August the 5th after a nail-biting plunge through the Martian atmosphere. It's on a 2-year, $2.5 billion mission to study whether the Martian environment could have been favorable for microbial life.
What?
Microbial. Microbes.
Oh, microbes.
Present-day Mars is a frozen desert
Like the Gobi Desert, but maybe colder.
with no hint of water on its radiation-scarred surface.
Oh, radiation. Really?
But geological studies of rocks by previous missions suggest the planet was warmer and wetter at one time.
Maybe had a more of an atmosphere at one time.
The latest evidence came from photos that Curiosity took revealing rounded pebbles and gravel, a sign that the rocks were transported long distances by water and smoothed out. The size of the rocks ranging from a sand grain to a golf ball indicates they could not have been carried by wind. Curiosity chanced upon the dried up stream bed while driving to Glenelg, an intriguing spot where three types of terrain meet. Its ultimate destination is Mount Sharp.
It's funny how humans gave names to different parts of Mars, like they're ready to claim it, as property.
Hey, private property, baby. Gonna privatize Mars. A mountain rising from the center of a crater floor, but it was not expected to travel there until the end of the year. Finding past water is a first step toward learning whether the environment could have supported microbes. Scientists generally agree that besides water and an energy source such as the sun, organic carbon is a prerequisite for life. Unless you're a Gorn.
I shall be merciful.
Oh,
Captain of
twist your neck easily.
The captain of the Gorn ship from the Star Trek episode.
While an ancient stream bed holds promise
Yeah.
as a potentially habitable environment, scientists don't think it's a good place to preserve the carbon building blocks of life. That's why the rover will continue its trek to the foothills of Mount Sharp, where there's a better chance of finding organics. Here, there's a picture here of a rock bed on Earth
Yeah.
and the one on Mars.
Well, the last time I showed a picture, it was too high. So I don't know if it's going to be in view. You got your glasses on. Could you tell
Yes,
me?
I do. The one on the left is the
No,
Mars.
could you look and see if
Oh.
it's too high or too low, or
No, too cold. Okay, stay there.
are the two images being shown?
Yes.
Okay. So the one on the left is
The one on the... Hey, it's turned around now on the camera. So it looks to me like the one that will appear on the right is the one on Earth. Right, yeah. The one that will appear on the right is the one on Earth. That's by your left hand.
okay. The one on
Your
Not-
right hand is the Mars one.
Oh, okay. It's moved. All right. The reddish. In other words, the red
Reddish
one.
colored one. Yes.
The red one
Rose
is
colored.
Mars.
Yeah.
The beige one, the sandy one, is Earth.
Earth. Yeah.
Okay. They could see that.
Yeah. Whoa.
Right.
I guess so.
Okay. Whatever.
Whatever.
Not as amusing as the holy kudzu plant in the Carolinas that people were worshiping because it was shaped like a cross. That was funny.
Jeez.
The kudzu. Yeah.
The kudzu, yeah.
But anyway, hey, Billy, Dr. Bill, they've announced recently that the eco-friendly compact fluorescent light bulbs emit a lot of ultraviolet radiation. No wonder my plants grow so well indoors under the cheap compact fluorescent light bulbs. That's the reason. They actually, so a person does not have to purchase any full spectrum special lighting for their animals, for their pets or fish, because the compact fluorescent emits ultraviolet light. And prolonged exposure, a little too close, can cause skin cancer, according to these doctors. So your El Cheapo compact fluorescent light bulbs, found in dollar stores and everywhere else, emit ultraviolet radiation, and of course if they're cracked, they emit a little too much. Yeah, I'm not buying special light bulbs for my plants or my pets. No way. So anyway, what you got
If
there?
anything shows the true character and hypocrisy of the Republicans in the United States Senate, it is their action on the Veterans Jobs Core Bill. This bill would have hired veterans who served in the military since the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001, to work on federal public lands projects, and would have established a network of job training centers. It was fully funded in a reasonable manner. It was killed by the Senate Republicans, notwithstanding that parts of it were written by 4 Republicans who then voted against it.
Oh, but it's okay for U.S. veterans to put their lives on the line for war profiteering for the Bush administration.
And for the big corporations.
And for big corporations and the Republican Bush and Cheney administration. That's okay for veterans to put their lives on the line.
Absolutely.
These fat cats can make even more money than they already have. Oh, that's okay, but
Cannon fodder, that's what they're for.
But to take care of the veterans when they come back home.
Oh God, no.
Oh, that's bad.
They should die on the battlefield and come back in a coffin.
Right, for the sake of profit.
There you go.
See, that is the very heart and soul of right-wing Republicans.
Whatever their professed excuse for killing it, the true reason is clear. They did not want to pass a bill that would have created more jobs, thus making the job situation look better and weakening their economic argument against President Obama. This cynical conduct hurts the veterans they so profess to support.
Yeah.
It is unconscionable. It is yet another example of their acting only to defeat Obama in November. The American people be damned.
They'd be damned if they vote Republican at all. They'd be damned.
I have no pension from my years as a public school teacher, having left the job to care for aging and dying parents. While I did driver's ed jobs, mostly at Marist High School in Bayonne, New Jersey, I started to receive Social Security. I did some substitute teaching and moved to the Botany Village area in Clifton.
I know it well.
I made one move a short distance up Ackerman Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
The rent wasn't too bad, and we were getting a renter's rebate, so I could pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
When Governor Christie took over,
Oh, El Balloon Boy.
he got rid of the rebate.
Of course he did.
My rent has since gone up 3 times. 3 years have gone by without any significant cost of living increase in Social Security. I fell behind on my utilities, only having money enough to pay the rent and buy groceries. PSE&G is cutting off my electricity and gas. How can this governor have a high job approval rating? Where do they take these polls?
Fake polls.
In areas of wealth?
Yeah, people who don't care about anybody else. The poor.
So what's wrong with Social Security? Plenty. It all started when we got away from the original intention, as set by President Roosevelt in the 1930s. It was simply for a retirement supplement and disability only. Well, the disability part was not there under FDR. That came later. I think it was in the 50s. Since then, a number of programs have been added. These programs should be paid for by the IRS and or a national sales tax. Originally, a Social Security payment was for only one of 2 people: the person on Social Security card and the surviving spouse. That was it. And under these conditions, it should not have been called a payroll tax, but an endowment. Now, why wouldn't it be called a payroll tax when you're paying the damn payroll tax for it?
Yeah, right.
That's why these people on television correctly say, I earned my Social Security. It's not an entitlement. I earned it.
You paid into it, man.
Correct.
Same thing with unemployment, right?
Oh, now you just reminded me again. I will say it until I'm blue in the face. We can't tax the wealthy, but we can tax those on unemployment insurance. What's wrong with this picture?
Totally unfair, totally hypocritical, double standard, greed personified, the devil's economics, all the above, right-wing Republicans, conservatives, the devil's economics.
So let's put Social Security back to the way it was. In the 1960s, when I started working, we thought that by the year 2000, people would be retiring no later than 60 years of age. What went wrong? I don't know. There's several things in there that just don't pertain to his original complaint.
You know, that's because William J. Eisenman did not write the article.
Whoa.
You know, not everybody is...
The article actually reminded me of your relatives there with the...
Social Security was never meant to be anything but...
Oh, you mean my conservative aunt?
Yeah.
Well, my family would not say aunt, they would say aunt. Aunt.
My aunt.
Like my aunt.
My aunt.
You know, uncle is uncle, but aunt is aunt. My aunt, who called the pelicans,
Moochers.
swooping down and landing on the pier in the Florida Keys at the marina, said that those birds were looking for handouts every day they come by because they're looking for handouts. So the pelicans are moochers.
And that's what Mr. Romney said about the 47%.
I know she was making a reference to human beings.
Of course.
And then she said that Social Security was meant to supplement a person's retirement income, not to be the sole source of a person's retirement income, which means that it's an excuse for them to eliminate or reduce the size of Social Security and Medicare.
Well,
and this is coming from a person who is financially independent.
of course.
So it's not their problem, so therefore they don't care about you.
Now, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the original intent of Social Security was to prevent older people from starving.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt's second Bill of Rights speech is on YouTube. People, look it up.
You better look it up. Very good points.
And I put that right underneath FDR's
You
photo
should continue to...
on my exciting, fast-growing Facebook group, Mega Life 21 Hard-Hitting Truth, The Truth Whispers.
You should keep
Yeah.
sharing that on Facebook every now and then.
That's why
link.
That's why I put the link to his speech underneath FDR's picture, because
Right.
I want to retrieve it very quickly
Right.
and thus share it.
A University of Tennessee vice chancellor on Wednesday said he was shocked by reports that a fraternity had engaged in administering an alcohol enema to a member, saying the news of the incident has given the institution a black eye.
Who administers the enema? A male to another male? Sounds a little gay, doesn't it?
Well, the university has begun a probe of the allegations. Police have handed out at least a dozen citations for underage drinking.
Probe. Enema. No pun intended.
And the local chapter of Phi Kappa Alpha fraternity.
Phi Kappa Alpha Proba
has been suspended.
up the assa.
The police investigation began Saturday when UT student Alexander P. Broughton, 20, was taken to UT Medical Center. This is the University of Tennessee, UT.
So the alcohol went into his system via
Well, you know, with coffee enemas and things like this, goes right into the system.
mucous membranes.
Yeah.
Transdermally, right?
Yeah, very fast.
Yeah. Well, it's like a sublingual supplementation. It's a mucous membrane.
Was taken to the University of Tennessee Medical Center.
Sublingual. Did I say transdermal? Sublingual.
No, transdermal is in
I'm sorry.
legal.
Sublingual mucous membrane. Yeah, transmission.
Well, not sublingual because that's under the tongue.
Well, anything kept in the mouth to
but we're keeping this in the rectum.
and in this case it's rectal mucous membrane.
Rectum hell had killed him.
Okay.
Anyway, the kid was taken to the medical center. Police said the unresponsive Broughton registered a blood alcohol content estimated by hospital staff to be more than 0.40.
40?
That's like what, 8, 16, 32, 4, 5 times the over the legal limit.
Wow.
Or 4 times over the legal limit, which is 0.08. Right?
Which is life-threatening. Can be, right?
I'm not sure. I haven't read the article completely,
okay.
but I think he died. We will soon find out. He was unresponsive. Anyway, Knoxville police said the 4 people, actually it was 5 times the 0.08. Knoxville police said the 4 people who took Broughton to the emergency room were not cooperative. One 22-year-old student eventually told police Broughton's condition was caused by butt plug chugging. Butt chugging.
What?
Maybe they were squeezing it into the old butt.
Butt plug.
Otherwise, I don't know. Chugging.
Drinking from his asshole?
Or they were squirting it in. One or the other. You got to get it in there.
These guys might
You'd have to be upside down for it to be chugging.
They're
To
bisexual?
use gravity.
Yeah, like gravity's keeping my shillelagh on my shoulder?
Oh, if it fell down, that would be gravity taking it over. The butt chugging
Butt chugging.
is inserting a tube, so like an enema, into the anus and then funneling an alcoholic beverage rectally. Broughton has since been released. Oh, he did recover from the hospital.
Sounds like an old episode of Porky's.
Yeah, there you go. The vice chancellor for student life said the incident has tarnished the university. We feel we've got a black eye. They said the National Office of Phi Kappa Alpha has suspended the University of Tennessee chapter from engaging in fraternity activities for 30 days. He said the University of Tennessee's administration has leveled an indefinite suspension on the chapter pending the results of ongoing investigations by the University of Tennessee Police Department.
And I think beer pong is unsanitary. The game of beer pong, this is horrible.
On Tuesday, the fraternity's parent organization in Memphis condemned what it said appeared to be the isolated actions of a small group of individuals.
Yeah, let it be that way. Butt chugging? Butt plug chugging?
Butt chugging. Butt chugging.
Yeah, they were using the guy's rectum as a wine flask. A man drinking from another man's rectum. or colon rather.
Oh my God.
Colorectal canteen. Excuse me.
This is one letter writer addressing another letter writer.
All right, we'll make that the last one.
Was the letter writer asleep during the 8 years before President Obama? That is the G.W. Bush administration? That president was also a businessman. Toward the end of his presidency, he gave us 700,000 new unemployed. A super reason for new food stamp allotments. As for Mitt Romney's business experience, it was great for Romney. He didn't create jobs. He took companies, good and bad. If bad, he took what was left, gave it to the investors, and dumped the workers. The letter writer, apparently fearful about Medicare, should consider Paul Ryan's plan to change Medicare as we know it. I am grateful to Medicare for saving my life. I would never have been able to get enough insurance from Paul Ryan's plan to do for me what Medicare did. It should not be changed the way Ryan suggests. There are dozens of ways that Medicare can be fixed without destroying it.
Interesting. Oh, anything small but interesting? Or we just
I don't know about
call it
small.
a day?
This might be interesting. Not too small, but it is enough.
Yeah, I don't
Mitt
want
Romney
Mitt Romney.
got the math about right. But when he said that 47% of Americans pay no income taxes and are dependent on government, he blurred together half or more of the entire country, ranging from the nation's neediest to its middle class,
Yeah, but then he says he didn't mean it the way it sounded.
and even some of its richest families. Yeah, well, that's
What else is he
all you
gonna
have to do is listen to the tape.
Yeah, what else is he going to say, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I was misquoted. Oh, it's out of context.
Did you say it?
Yeah, I said it, but I changed my mind now.
That we didn't perceive it accurately?
Well, we didn't perceive that it was going to cause so much damage, so now we got to do damage control. Okay? So now I'm changing my words.
I heard it too. It was as plain as the nose on your face.
Exactly. 46% of the country's potential taxpayers, some 76 million people, paid no federal income taxes last year.
There you go.
While it's true most of those non-payers are poor, the numbers include many others who got tax breaks because they are old, have children in college, or didn't owe taxes on interest from state and local bonds. And of those who didn't write checks to the IRS, 6 in 10 still paid Social Security and Medicare payroll taxes, and more than that, paid federal excise taxes on items such as gasoline, alcohol, and cigarettes. On the spending side, 150 million people, just under half the country, received benefits last year from one or more federal programs. A look at just the 4 biggest programs shows how varied their often overlapping recipients can be. There were 50 million collecting Social Security, 46 million getting Medicare health coverage. Programs that pay everyone regardless of their income. 80 million were living in households getting Medicaid medical coverage. 48 million were in families receiving food stamps, which are limited to the poor. Combined, those numbers belie a political point that Romney, the Republican presidential candidate, was making when he spoke at a secretly recorded Florida fundraiser in May. Some 47%, he said, will vote for the president no matter what.
But that's not so for the elderly, who favored Romney over President Obama 52% to 42%.
Now, this is exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. You know, voting for people that are against your best interest. Senior citizens of America, wake up. Stupid.
Correct.
It is the dumbing down of America.
A significant fraction of government entitlement benefits are neither poor nor necessarily supporters of the Democratic Party, and many pay significant income taxes. According to the Tax Policy Center study, 38 million, half of those who owe no federal income taxes, escape owing money to the IRS because their income is too low. For them, merely using the standard deduction, personal exemptions, and other basic parts of the tax code allow them to avoid income taxes. On top of that, about 1 in 5 others who don't owe federal income taxes, nearly 17 million people, benefit from tax breaks for the elderly. These include the exclusion of taxes on part of their Social Security benefits and a higher standard deduction. Almost 12 million avoid income taxes because they use the earned income tax credit for low-income workers, the child tax credit, and other breaks for low-earning families with children. 2 million take advantage of a tax credit for college expenses, enacted under Obama, and other education tax breaks. Millions of others owe nothing because taxes are not paid on welfare and other income support programs because of deductions for business costs and alimony, moving, and other expenses, and because capital gains tax rates can drop to 0 for some assets held for longer than a year. Yeah, but they tax unemployment insurance.
Capitalism can be so corrupt.
After all, 93% of those who owe no income taxes earn $50,000 annually or less. But 5% of them earn $50,000 to $100,000. And the rest, around 433,000, earn more than $100,000 annually. That includes 4,000 households earning more than $1 million a year.
I am very happy that you chose that fantastic article as our last article for this week. Outstanding articles. They were hand-picked to perfection. And I know...
and then deep fried.
Yeah, fricassee. What does fricassee mean? Like Boss Hogg was eating fricasseed hog jowls on the Dukes of Hazzard.
Well, that's deep fried.
What is a fricassee?
Fricassee isn't it? Oh, wait a second.
Fricasseed hog jowls.
It has some kind of a batter on it and deep fried, no? I think so.
Maybe it is. Yeah, maybe it is.
So.
But I know we were way behind schedule because we had a visit with one of our high esteemed executive members of the newsletter Censored Research Center, Mr. Michael J. Talmo himself. And I was very happy to see him after a long period of absence and have an invigorating talk with him. If Michael J. Talmo has or acquires a webcam, I can even do political and human sexuality shows with him, right from him being home and me being in the studio.
I can give him my old one.
You know, he just has to download on Skype, or maybe his girlfriend can help him out. Download on Skype, and I can do shows galore with Michael J. Talmo.
I can give him my old one.
It'll work, right?
Still works.
You know, all I gotta do is get a headshot of him. That's all. Basic headshot.
But I wonder if I don't think I have...
From the pectorales to the top of his head.
I don't know if I have the software for it.
But isn't, it's not a plug-in... Well, maybe it'll... You know, one time my computer recognized an old webcam without the software. It
Yeah, but I think you have to have the driver.
you got to have the driver. Is the name of the company on the webcam? Because
Yeah.
Windows can search the internet. If you go to hardware, adding hardware, what is that? The control panel hardware,
Yeah.
and Windows will search the internet for the most updated drivers.
Cool.
So it might work. Anyway, last night I made a delicious curry chicken with jasmine brown rice. I got the product from H Mart, the big Korean market, and it came in solid cakes. And you just add 3 cups of water for half a box, and you stir it, and it melts and it becomes gravy.
Cool.
Company's called Java. So it was pretty good, actually. It came delicious. Finger licking good. Okay, take it easy. Say so long to these people.
So long, people.
All right.